Genesis 3:16 follows God's pronouncement of judgment on the serpent and marks the beginning of his judgment on humanity after the fall. This verse is directed specifically to the woman, Eve, and outlines the consequences of her actions. These consequences involve both childbearing and her relationship with her husband, two core aspects of womanhood and family life. Verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Key phrases. I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. In Hebrew, the concepts for these phrases are as follows. 1. I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. Harba arbe, its bvon kh veron kh, harba arbe itzevonek veheronek. Harba arbe. I will greatly multiply, using a doubled verb form to emphasize intensity and certainty. Itzevonek, its bvon kh. Your sorrow or pain, particularly emotional or physical distress. Veheronek, and your conception, possibly referring to both the process of conceiving and the experience of pregnancy. Together, these words show that the experience of motherhood will involve multiplied pain, both physically and emotionally. 2. In pain you shall bring forth children. Be'etzev teledi vanim. Be'etzev. In pain, reinforcing the sorrow already mentioned. Teledi. You shall bring forth, referring to the act of giving birth. Banim, children or sons, representing the broader aspect of motherhood. This phrase emphasizes that the act of childbirth, once possibly painless, will now be marked by physical suffering. 3. Your desire shall be for your husband. Ve'el ishek teshukatek. Your desire, a term that can imply longing, need, or even rivalry. Ve'el ishek, for your husband, showing that the desire is directed toward the man. This could imply relational dependence, emotional longing, or a power struggle. The same Hebrew word teshuka appears in Genesis 4:7 in the context of sin's desire to dominate, suggesting complexity in the relational dynamics introduced by the fall. 4. And he shall rule over you. Vahu yimshol bak. Yimshol. He shall rule, a term indicating authority or dominion, sometimes oppressive. Bak, over you, emphasizing the imbalance in authority that was not present before the fall. This introduces hierarchical tension in the husband-wife relationship, showing how sin distorts mutual partnership. I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. The result of Eve's disobedience includes an intensification of physical and emotional pain, particularly associated with her role as a mother. Pregnancy and childbirth will no longer be purely joyful, but mingled with suffering. In pain you shall bring forth children. The actual process of labor is now marked by struggle and anguish, a tangible reminder of the fall. This pain becomes a symbol of the brokenness introduced by sin into what was meant to be a creative and life-giving act. Your desire shall be for your husband. This phrase may suggest that the woman will have a dependent or longing desire for her husband, possibly rooted in emotional or relational need, or it may hint at an internal struggle for influence within the relationship. It portrays the distortion of harmony between male and female. And he shall rule over you. This is not a command, but a description of the altered reality in a fallen world. Instead of mutual, loving partnership, the man will now dominate, which introduces tension and inequality. It points to the emergence of patriarchal systems and power imbalance as a consequence of sin. Genesis 3:16 reflects the tragic shift in the woman's experience due to sin, introducing pain into motherhood and tension into the marriage relationship. However, this verse is descriptive of the curse, not prescriptive of God's ideal. It sets the stage for the redemptive work that seeks to restore equality, wholeness, and peace through Christ.